Hello friend, welcome to Bestest, where we sift through the noise so you don't have to. I'm Brian Hart.
I'm Karen McFarland-Holman.
Today, I'm going to share why men love throwing rocks.
And I'm going to share about hypnosis for health. Let's get to it.
I am going to be talking about this article that I just absolutely love. It is called Why Men Simply Love Throwing Rocks into Water, with the byline, "Big stone make water go splash." It's a Vice article by Andrew Lloyd. Men have been chucking heavy into things forever, from ancient Greece to rubble chucked in local rivers. Lads have always been lobbing rocks as far as they can. And now with the advent of social media, they're showcasing their talent to millions. On YouTube, you can watch excitable men drop cars, Xboxes, vending machines from a 45-foot tower just for a laugh. On TikTok, you can find hundreds of guys hurling rocks from bridges under the hashtag #throwingrocks. And the comments are full of appreciative guys sharing notes and the satisfying impact. Best thing I've seen all day. It's better than drugs. Do it again. Or making requests for larger, bigger drops. One popular TikTok video, JTM, drops a 120-pound slab from a respectively massive height into a green river below. It has over 48 million views. And tons of TikTok duets. If you don't know that, it's a big TikTok trend. I can't get into it right now. What I really love, though, is 25-year-old TikToker named Phoenix uploaded one of her own rock throwing videos, and she noticed a huge uptick in male followers. She says, "My content is definitely tailored towards women and queer folks. So I was just like, this is a cute, wholesome way to show thank you to the guys that have watched her." She dunked some pebbles in and did it and skimmed one across the lake, and it blew up. She got 60,000 followers in the first 3 days, probably close to 100,000 new followers altogether. So it's so good. There's much more to it, but I have to stop. Definitely check out this article, Why Men Simply Love Throwing Rocks into Water.
I love it, and I love doing it too. Oh, how could I forget?
You forgot.
That's rare.
Because of the rocks.
The rocks. I was so excited about the rocks.
Fascinating.
It is, and I am not surprised at all. And the whole thing about dropping things from high, because it's something you don't usually get to do.
Yeah.
So if you get to watch something fall, because we all kind of fantasize about that. Like, especially if you have some old computer that's been driving you crazy and you just want to chuck it over the side of a building, and then you get to see someone else do that.
Yeah.
Oh, so satisfying.
Well, and that makes a lot more sense, right? Because that's a thing that maybe has caused you problems in the past. But rocks is much more like barbaric, and I don't know. It does seem to be. When I read this article, I think what struck me the most is it hit a nerve so deep. I have loved to throw rocks into water since I can remember doing it. Like as a little kid, when I could first throw, I was throwing rocks into water, and it gave me immense pleasure. Like, it does feed this like caveman instinct, and then they talk about it in the article, which I didn't even get to, of how it's probably part of our lizard brain that when we had to do this for survival as tribes, as cavemen, of like surviving, either throwing it against other tribes or throwing it to a saber-toothed tiger that might kill us all, and how we did that as probably this natural instinct. And then also one person talks about the ripple effect and how it's so beautiful aesthetically into the water. But it's true. Without a doubt, my favorite thing in the world forever, and I always didn't even question it, but I thought it was kind of silly, that I love throwing stuff into rocks, especially into the water. And then I saw this and felt justified, but it's super interesting that a gal tried it and they got all these male followers. She went from, I think, 60 or 70%, I think like 70% women, to now 60% men and 40% women, because every Monday she throws, for the boys, she throws rocks in the water, and they go bonkers. They just like lose their mind. It's
love
so crazy, but so true. If you ask any guy, they will free. And the duets are hilarious because the guy that throws that 125-pound rock, and then they duet it, the first duet. So it's like this split screen, if you don't know what duetting is in TikTok. And this guy's like, oh, he's going to throw a rock. And then everybody's like, what? Did you say throw a rock? Like, and it's all guys, and they're like, and then they just watch it, and they're like, oh, this is going to be good. And they throw it, and they watch it, and then they all just clap. And it's like 100 duets of different groups of windows of men watching this guy throw the same rock.
I love
and all
it.
freaking out about how much they love it.
I love
it's
it.
It's such a crazy phenomenon that I didn't ever think about.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as I heard about it, I'm like, oh yeah, guys love throwing rocks
That's amazing.
in water.
Well, and another thing I love doing is the skipping rocks because
Yeah.
there's so many layers to it. It's like it's finding the coveted flat, smooth rock. Like first off, and then it's the skipping it. How many skips do you get? How far do you get?
Right.
And then you do it again. Can you beat your previous
Yeah.
record? If you're doing it with someone else, like, oh, did you? Or like skipping over and all these different ways that the rocks skip. I mean, it just goes on and on. It's
This is
awesome.
another, I think, kind of primal instinct. Who's the strongest? Who's the most talented? You know, kind of this natural selection, especially not only men, but definitely men are very competitive, very testosterone based, and like want to be, you know, the best, farthest, you know, best rock skipper, farthest rock thrower. It's just some kind of caveman instinct, definitely hardwired for men, especially. And I hate to generalize, but it's true. This one is 100% true for guys,
and right there, there's
sure.
a piece of data there that TikToker you mentioned.
Yeah,
What happened
like
with
bonafide.
the gender balance went up because of her throwing.
And what I love about that, the hidden thing that I love about this is the fact that if she's talking mostly about queer content and things like this, that these cavemen men are now open and perhaps
Watching,
seeing some of her other stuff and maybe learning something for the
that's
little
great.
caveman brain like me.
That's great. Okay, now I know what I'll do for my next TikTok video.
Exactly. You might blow up. Just throw a couple rocks over the
that's
bridge,
right.
over right behind us.
Woo! Excellent. Always looking for content.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're
That's
very
a good one.
welcome.
And clearly I was intrigued because I forgot the shoo, shoo at the end.
Yeah, exactly. That does not happen very often. So you can check all this out on our show notes at 10bestest.com/rocks.
Thank you again.
You're welcome.
My cool sheet, I'm going to be talking about something related to health, and this is hypnosis. So hypnosis has been controversial for many decades, but now most clinicians agree it can be powerful, it can be effective, and a very good therapeutic technique for a wide range of conditions. So if you want to learn what it is and how it works, it's too much for me to talk about here, but I have a link to the Mayo Clinic that describes it. But I'll tell you in a nutshell that hypnosis is this therapeutic technique in which a trained clinician guides an individual through a process that's designed to relax you and focus your mind. And that puts you in what's called the hypnotic state. You are still conscious. It's much like deep meditation. And when you're in this state, then the clinician makes suggestions to you who, at that point, you are apparently, from the studies they've done, you're more receptive to the ideas being offered to you. I use this word offer. I'm not saying that you're told what to do, because this is not a scary or weird phenomenon where you're under someone else's control. Examples of what hypnosis have been shown to work for: one is pain control. This is a big one. It's been shown to help with a wide range of pain issues, some as everyday as headaches, and others really severe, like burns or fibromyalgia. Behavioral changes, such as treating insomnia, bedwetting, overeating. Probably the best known one is smoking, and it works very well for children as well. Easing side effects of chemotherapy and radiation and cancer treatments. It can reduce hot flashes from menopause. It can treat symptoms of mental health conditions such as anxiety, phobias, and post-traumatic stress. The evidence that it works well in children for behavioral issues is really compelling, and I love that it seems to work especially well in younger children who seem to be more open to it. And they show that their pulse rates go down and their crying decreases. I have a lot of personal experience. Specifically, I used hypnosis for childbirth. I know it works, and there's a whole bunch of studies that show it works. Hypnosis.
Ooh, this is a really good one. I'm really glad that you talked about this. Yeah, because I will never forget my first, and one of my only though, dealings with hypnosis. Because I always thought, it was in high school. It was one of my health teachers, I think, I thought was strange, you know, and back then I was like, this is baloney, you know, totally fake. This is just what you see in movies.
Right.
And it was so many, because you see the watch and the optical illusion and and it's like instant and you can do whatever. You can tell people to do whatever. And all of that, and I was like, this is just baloney, you know, it's just the movies, it doesn't exist. And then it was very different, of course, a real setting, we all laid down in the, and he had us kind of lay in a circle, and then he just played this tape, and, you know, did the whole thing, where you relax, and so I've never meditated before. I mean, this was a teenager, so I thought I knew everything, and I was very angsty and all of that stuff. So yeah, and I literally felt my body like rise above and look over everything, and I was blown away. I instantly snapped out of it because I was like, whoa, what's happening?
Happened? Wow.
And then I was done because it was in the middle of the thing. I couldn't start over because everybody was doing it. But that was the first time in my life where I was like, whoa, I don't know anything about the world or my body or the mind. And it would change my life forever. It probably made me much more open to many other things. So even though I haven't practiced getting hypnotized in any other way, it did change my life significantly.
That's amazing.
So it was so cool. It was like, my first outer body, totally didn't think it was real until I had that experience. Like totally changed me.
Well, and that's so great that happened to you as a teenager, because I would expect, I mean, depending on the teenager, but if you are feeling really cynical about anyone who's cynical, put it that way, then it might be harder. They'd be less open to it. Yeah. And it broke through you pretty easily, it sounds like.
It was wild.
Cool.
Yeah. And I was very resistant at first. Like I was like, this isn't going to work on me, or it doesn't work at all. And I was a believer after that. I mean, I didn't go like any down crazy rabbit holes, or didn't like change my life in like any kind of weird way. Like it's totally all for the better. Like super open-minded about all kinds of things. It was great. It was really, really cool. Yeah. So thank you so much for bringing that up.
You're welcome.
That's great.
And I really wish it was used more, because like I said, so childbirth is pretty painful. Yeah, and that's what I've heard. Worked for that. And I've given birth to two children, and I wasn't able to use it for the first one, but the second one I did, and there was definitely a difference. Wow, and so cool. Anyway, it works. It works for so many things. So I just, hopefully it just continues to spread more.
And it sounds like it's getting more of a, at least medically. Yes. You know, I mean, if the Mayo Clinic is now featuring it, it's one of those things, because there's a lot of things that they thought were good and, of course, have been debunked. Yes. But now it's nice to see that when it happens in the other direction. Yes, sometimes for sure. Something you think is snake oil, and it's like, oh, actually, there are benefits to this. It isn't a cure-all. It isn't going to like fix every human forever for anything. Right. But it does help a lot of people, so there's something to it. Yeah. Yeah, cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for joining us, friend. I'm Brian Hart.
I'm Karen McFarland-Holman.
And let us know in the comments, do you like to throw rocks?
And let us know, have you ever tried hypnosis? And if not, would you?
If you're enjoying the show, please smash that like button and share it with a friend.
Stay tuned tomorrow for another great show.
And don't forget to stay curious.